I'm Tommy Moore from the Bartitsu Lab. In this video, just going to make a little point about having the right tension in your hands and in your fingers when you're doing strikes. Now, a strike to the eyes, which I find particularly effective, I call the harpoon strike. And it's a bit like this. If you ever see tribal programs and how people catch fish with spears, and you've got a spearhead with lots of barbs, because you know that one of those barbs is going to enter the fish, one or more of them. When it comes to attacking the eyes, you want as many shots as possible, because the eye essentially is a sphincter muscle. It can close very tight. You're very good at defending your eyes naturally. So you want to make sure you've got as many chances as possible to get something damaging in there if the situation warrants it. And one of my favourite methods for doing that is this harpoon strike. And it's essentially this. If you take your hand and imagine you're holding something like a baseball or a tennis ball, and you apply the same tension as if you didn't want that ball to drop. So you end up in this position here. Now what you've got with this is a really good stable frame. You've got many ways in which the fingers can enter the eyes, but you've also got really good stability compared to things like a finger jab. If you take something with even middling resistance, like a focus mitt, and you give it a traditional spear tip poke here, even a little bit of force can feel like a bag of shit. Now there are ways around this. I quite like whipping strikes to the eyes, so flicking the hand this way, flicking the fingers into the eyes, and that gives lots of opportunity. But if you wanted something more direct, more thrust orientated, you wouldn't go too far wrong in using this harpoon style here. So again, have the right tension as if you were holding a ball and you didn't want to let it go. You are holding the ball and it's a solid object. So if you imagine that in your mind, you're having the right tension in your hands. And then you can get used to, it doesn't give you free rein to crunch it in. You're not going to become Pai Mai from Kill Bill. You're not going to punch holes through boards with your fingers. But if you start to feel this against actual flesh, it holds its structure pretty well. You can do this pretty solidly against any part of your body and you won't get many complaints from your hands. This is nasty. You just burst it straight in. From here, boom, straight from there. Nice and simple, no fucking around, just harpoon him right in the face. From here. Just launching this. So it's one of my favoured finger jabs to the eyes, all using the right tension. So the imaginary ball I find very important. You just launch it straight in. Bam! You've got lots of opportunity to hit the eye, but you reduce the risk of fucking up your fingers. Any degree of force on this, it can start to fold and buckle. And you either hit, miss, or miss. When you've got this, they're all at different heights and different levels. You're pretty much guaranteed to get something in, even if he moves, and he will likely move. Boom! Here. Boom! So the harpoon gouge, I really like it. Boom! 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 The best feel for it is against a person's body. You can get a feel for what this is like against this human frame. But it requires you to mentally have that tension of holding a ball. It's not bullshit Asian pseudoscience. It's literally just to give you the right mental stimuli to say, am I putting the right level of tension into these fingers to do the job we want them to do? Hump, hump, hump. So the harpoon gouge. It's very good. It's very unpredictable. Boom. Boom! It can come in very easily from lots of different types of fence. Placating fences, being coward, being supplicant, being afraid, being injured. Bang! This kind of shot can come in and cause some nasty damage to the eye. Boom! Boom! Long range and short range. Another tool of tension which I quite like, it comes from Bas Rutten. When you're looking at palm strikes, another way to think of it really is as a bone strike. And if you think of the end of the bone here, the end of so you've got your bones coming up here and around about the wrist. We've got the wrist and then we've got the hand. So when we're palm striking, we're always using that center bit. But you can also get some really good shots using the upper part or the uppermost part of the forearm or just as the wrist comes into play. And a really good place for that is behind the ear. Now, again, it's one of those things where it starts to feel a bit like bullshit. But one of the best ways to practice this and give you the right tension is imagine you're holding a melon in your hand now, a honeydew melon. You're giving yourself the right torsion. So give yourself the right tension, hold the melon. You don't want to drop the melon. So you've got your hand locked in. And now just use a little bit of force just behind the ear, and feel how much of a bag of shit that feels. It's just awful. Just behind and below the ear. There. Anywhere around here just feels awful. You feel yourself start to gag, start to choke, give you that sickening whiplash feel. But again, it works much better if you've got that tension. Try it without the tension, then try it as if you were holding that melon. Bang! It's just fucking awful. Just using that hard part of the wrist. You can do this against pretty robust targets and not do yourself much mischief. So again, hold the melon, have the right tension, especially behind the ear. Wham! Wham! So it's a bone strike. We're using the bones in this particular instance. And a great way to deploy this might be that your fence is on the outside and you're just hitting with the same body mechanics as a power slap, but you're going behind the ear. A lot of slaps go to the ear. In this instance, we're going behind the ear. Wham! 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 Now, if he flinches and moves back, I'll smash him on the ear. Absolutely great. If he moves forward, he's getting a big chunk of forearm in the neck. And if he moves all the way out, it gives me enough range to fire some heavier artillery. So this bone strike here, boom, right to the back of the ear. Boom! Boom! Push! Push! It's a nasty little shot. And again, another way to access this might be from a fucked up clinch. You grab the top portion of his head, pull it to expose that part of the ear, and then go to town. So you're in this wrestle. Job one, make sure you've got decent base. At any one opportunity, you might grip the top uppermost part of his head as a lever, cant it to one side, and then blast this bone strike behind the ear. It's nasty as fuck. But again, it works much, much better if you apply that tension to your fingers by that. So whether you're looking at the harpoon or the wrist strike, there are some really, really easy to use tools, but you get the best out of them if you apply the right tension. Give them a play, see what you think.